Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the Humpty Project. I'm going to tell you just a bit about what I've been up to the past 10 days. Mostly, I've been interviewing people that I'm considering for and are interested in joining as an interviewee. So, as I mentioned, the goal here is to mainly share stories, inspire people, motivate people, educate and inform people, particularly people that look like me and have some influence in business, on how to use their voice to be better allies, better sponsors, call out unjust situations. And ultimately, I'm looking to train and enhance skills that people have out there. So, who's going to help introduce some of those topics? Well, so far I've got a commitment from the owner of a DEIJ, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Justice consulting firm. Really motivating and inspiring person that I've met on LinkedIn. As well, a unique fellow I've met on LinkedIn, CEO of a prominent youth organization, quite passionate about this subject. There's a person that, if you say passion, there's clearly no doubt that this woman has passion. One of the most amazing people that I know. She has transformed her life and is a life coach and a health coach as well. And she's somebody who's really broken through barriers and I think can shed a lot of insight. There's a friend from the electronics industry who's been a product manager a long time. And her job is kind of down the road, middle of the road. She's very organized, very thorough, but she has some really interesting stories about the adventures she takes and how she can relate those adventures to work. So I think that's going to be an interesting segue to inspire and motivate other women as well. And then another woman has committed, hopefully in April, we'll find the time to sit down. She is a business owner and has her own diversity and inclusion coaching and training program. So that's five. And we have five more that are hopefully going to be able to join us in the next few months. I've got an inspiring relative. He's got Asperger's and he has just come a long, long way. And I want to lift up people that have disabilities. And I think he can inspire and motivate others that have disabilities. There's a senior vice president and CEO in the world of digital commerce. She's been contributing a lot to online efforts in this area, and I'm going to be really keen to see what she's doing. She's got some efforts she's promoting as well. I know a professor of psychology, really fun, unique person. I can't wait to see her behind camera. She has quite the personality, and she's this really unique Twitter persona too. I don't want the Humpty Project to be an echo chamber. There's a fellow who has an interest to be interviewed who doesn't necessarily come at this viewpoint with the same innate gut feeling that I do. And I can't necessarily coach him along, but I'd love to be able to expose him to the world of diversity, equity, and inclusion, better articulate my viewpoints with the help of guests, and would love to hear what he has to say, because I think he's going to express what a lot of other men in the world are going to ask about this topic. And then finally, the fifth target is the CEO of a technology accelerator. This accelerator is particularly focused on doing well by doing good, focuses on DEI initiatives. So that's what I've been up to. Let me follow up on a promise from the first episode, and that was to go just a bit further into my life story. So, without going into all the details, the reason I'm here in front of this camera today is because I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference for my grandson Emmett and the world he's inheriting from me. I realize that I've traveled through probably the first 2/3 of my tours around the sun, and I want to leave the world a better place in my last third. So, when I was an 18-year-old, even 17-year-old, I graduated high school with an electronics technology program degree. I was going to be the first in the family to go to college, but I chose a path. Sometimes I do this, I choose the harder way. But I chose a path of going to a technical school and then going right to work. I bought a home when I was 18, got married when I was 19, and decided to run for public office at 20, Easton City Council candidate. Back then, I was a Reagan Republican. I was very dug into my beliefs. Many of those have changed over the years. I then would become chairman of the Republican Party at 22 years old in Easton, ran again for public office as a Republican. If you know anything about the city of Easton in the 1980s, it was a 4.5 to 5 to 1 registration edge for the Democrats. So as a Republican, it was tough sledding, and I did not succeed. I would later even become a organizer in the Libertarian Party, and licensed Series 7 securities risk. That's Andrew's title. I was a licensed Series 7 securities, not broker, but licensed to sell stocks, bonds, mutual funds back in the go-go 80s, the Gordon Gekko time. I was super ambitious. I was going to prove that I made it. And that really informed a lot of my life, was this insecurity of not having gone to college, while so many of my colleagues, so many of my high school friends had gone to college. I really had this big burning pit that for many years informed a lot of my behavior. Very driven, but also fairly obnoxious. Definitely an imposter syndrome going on. I would, though, adopt kids, settle in, follow a fairly typical path: homes, real estate, cars, travel. Work afforded me a lot of it, but haven't really been pressing up against the edge. I've heard somewhere, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. So I've been feeling that lately, and I think it's ever since Emmett arrived about 18 months ago. I've been thinking that it's really my duty to do more than just sit on the sidelines and cheer on people who are fighting for a more diverse, equitable, and just world, a more equitable, diverse, and just workplace. I've been using my voice in meetings, in conferences, and this is a way for me to be even more proactive and get my voice out there, and hopefully bring some of the gentlemen that have expressed an interest by calling me aside after a meeting and saying, "Thank you for saying that. Really glad you said that. That meeting was going off the rails." I'd like to get them off the sidelines too. I think they don't know how. I'm still learning how. And with everybody's help here, I'm going to do better. So what does better look like? That's what we're going to try to explore here. So I think it's improved. We at least have a new wall here. Not a new wall, but a freshly painted wall. It really could use some decoration. But if you watched the first episode, if you watched the video episode on YouTube, it was pretty bland. We're going to keep making it better. We'll put some things on that wall, but that's what it's all about: incrementally getting better, one step at a time, one action at a time, one thought at a time. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening if you're listening on the podcast services. I appreciate everybody's support that has reached out to me and said that they look forward to the next episodes, and we're going to keep this thing moving. Take care now.